let's talk about why avoidants love to offer friendship to their exes and why they keep so many exes as friends. There often seems to always be an ex in the picture that's still texting them, communicating with them in some capacity. Maybe they're even spending time and hanging out with an ex. But then they blindside you. They pulled the rug from under your feet. You thought you had finally met your person, your twin flame even, and you thought you finally got it right. And suddenly it's over, and now they're offering you friendship. And it can be so tempting to accept that offer of friendship because it gives you the little glimmer of hope that they might come back to you, that they'll still be around, that they're not completely cutting you out of their life, which means that maybe they'll regret the breakup and want to bring you back in as a romantic partner. Well, there's a couple main reasons why avoidants do like to offer friendship to their exes. One, and the most important reason, external validation. Because if you accept the offer of friendship, they know that you are likely still an available option to them in their back pocket, and they can bring you back into the romantic relationship anytime they see fit. You're a constant source of validation. They rely heavily on external validation. And the reason why they rely on this so much is because of that consistent childhood emotional neglect that they experienced. They often grew up in households where you don't talk about feelings, and stoic parents, households where children are meant to be seen and not heard, and they routinely had their feelings dismissed, rejected. So the way that they learn to seek validation is by trying to make everybody else happy, often growing up in households where not only was there neglect, but that when they did receive praise, it was generally based off of accomplishment. So they learned to tie in their self-worth into the validation of others. So they need that external validation badly, but they've been triggered, right? They deactivate it. When their fears have been triggered, they shut down and suppress their emotions. Nobody ever showed them how to process emotions. They had to figure that out on their own. So what they learned to do was to avoid and stuff it, but they still need that external validation. So if you remain a friend, you remain a constant source of validation. Plus, they don't lose you. They still have access to the benefits of you without having to give anything of themselves to you. They don't have to be emotionally available for you. They don't have to be vulnerable with you. They don't have to worry about meeting your expectations, meeting your needs. They get to come in, get your validation on their terms without having to really put in any kind of effort or vulnerability towards you. It suits their needs. Now, one of the other main reasons why they often like to put an ex in the friend zone is because if you accept the offer of friendship, they get to escape accountability. Because, well, look, this person, they're my friend. They don't hate me. See, I didn't hurt them that badly because if I did, they wouldn't want to be my friend. So it essentially helps them escape accountability for the way that they hurt you, the way that they crushed you, the way that they broke your heart. Because if you want to be their friend, see, it must not have been that bad. Accountability is something that is very difficult for avoidance, especially dismissive avoidance. And that's because of that consistent childhood emotional neglect. They personalized it, growing up to be feeling defective and unlovable, like there's something wrong with them. And when a normal person takes accountability, it's saying, hey, I did this wrong. This is how I can do better. That's how we grow as a people. You learn from your mistakes and improve upon them. But for the avoidant, that's painful. They look to blame their behaviors, their feelings, their fears on external things. And that's because when they actually acknowledge wrongdoing or a mistake, they take it as confirmation of their own perceived inner defectiveness. In their mind, it's not, I did this, this is how I can do better. No, it's, I did this wrong because I'm defective, because I'm not lovable, because I'm worthless. It's too painful for them. So they look to project that blame. And again, accountability, painful. So if you are their friend, they get to escape accountability for the way that they hurt you. Now, they like to have a backup plan. When they go into a relationship, they have the preconceived notion that relationships inevitably fail. They do have one foot out the door from the very beginning. And having exes in the picture as available options gives them that exit plan. Because when this relationship inevitably fails, as they believe it will, well, they can go get validation from this person or that person. They have these different options validating them, giving them that dopamine, which is the reward chemical, helps them feel good about themselves. It's a distraction, helps them avoid emotions, and that external validation that they really rely on to feel good about themselves. But they have the exit plan in place. So they always have something lined up in case this relationship goes south. Due to that consistent childhood emotional neglect, they do grow up to believe that a relationship is destined to fail because they believe that they are inherently not good enough. Especially if they have a consistent, loving, affectionate partner, well, that really triggers them because they feel that it's inevitable that this person is going to figure out that they're too good for them, that they're better than they deserve. And that's really why they keep their walls up, to protect themselves from being exposed as what they perceive themselves to be, which is defective and unlovable. So it really all ties in together, and it all ties into this core wound of shame. And that actually ties into why they want to friend zone you, to mask that inner shame through external validation, to avoid accountability and avoid that wound of shame. Now, when they're offering friendship, they're not actually thinking of you. They're not thinking of the pain that it causes you to be in the friend zone with a person that you thought was your person. They're not considering your perspective on it. They're thinking of themselves. They're thinking of whatever they perceive that they want, need, feel, or fear in the moment. And they're thinking of that validation they want from you. An avoidant, a dismissive avoidant in particular, that is not working on themselves, they lack the ability and the willingness to actually consider the feelings and the needs of another person. They become hyper focused on themselves. It becomes me, all about me. How does this person make me feel? What do I get out of this? And that again ties into that consistent childhood emotional neglect. They learn that the only person they can rely on to meet their needs is themselves. So from a very young age, they become programmed to be self-sufficient, to become self-focused, and yes, self-absorbed. No, they don't go into this with the purpose of hurting you. They're not trying to hurt you. They're just not considering you, and it's because of their own attachment wounds. Yes, they can learn to grow their capacity and to become more empathetic and emotionally available, but they have to want it. So if your avoidant ex just dumped you, discarded you, slow faded out on you, and now they want to have you as a friend, if being a friend causes you anxiety, pain, and heartache, accepting that friendship to chase that false carrot, that carrot that they're dangling of the glimmer of hope, you're only hurting yourself because you're telling yourself unintentionally that it's okay to be treated as an option, that it's okay to be ditched and to be friend zoned and for you to wait around for them to come back and choose you. It's a very negative message to send yourself. If being in a relationship with them is what you want and being in the friend zone doesn't work, the best thing you can do is to hold boundaries. Boundaries are your limits of what you want, what you don't want, what you need, what you don't need, what you'll tolerate, not tolerate. And when you're holding a boundary, no, it's not a recreational activity. But you are telling yourself that your needs matter, your feelings matter, and no, it's not okay to be treated like an option. And you're telling the avoidant that too, because you are standing up for yourself in a healthy way. And you can simply say, friendship is not something that I feel that works for me. I wanted the relationship. And if you're willing to work on the relationship and repair this, I'm open to that. But being in the friend zone is only something that will cause me anxiety, pain, and reopen the wound over and over again. And that really is a boundary for me. And you can set that out in a kind but firm way. It respects you. You're showing self-respect, but you're also showing yourself that even when your heart is crushed, that you can rely on yourself to take care of your emotional needs, that you can rely on yourself to stand up for yourself. You can rely on yourself, period. Because in every action and every inaction that we take, we send ourselves a message whether we realize it or not. And when you don't hold a boundary here, You are allowing yourself to be treated like an option, and the more you do it, the more ingrained it becomes in your head. The human mind, it learns in repetition. The more you repeat anything, the more automatic it becomes. So when you repeat holding no boundaries and allowing yourself to be strung along and allowing yourself to be friend zoned and allowing this person to breadcrumb you and give you false hope so they get your validation, you are reinforcing the narrative that it's okay to do that to you. So now, on the other hand, if being a friend is okay and you're fine without the romantic relationship and you genuinely want to be their friend, that's fine, go for it. But if it hurts you, you are self-abandoning if you allow them to friend zone you. Because you're abandoning yourself, you're abandoning your own wants, needs, and that is a very anxious thing to do. The most secure thing that you can ever do in a relationship or even after a breakup is to hold boundaries. Your boundaries are so incredibly important. They are what will protect you. And then when you get into any new relationship, or if you rekindle the relationship with the avoidant, your boundaries are also how you protect yourself from being in a prolonged situation where it's a one-sided relationship, where you're not having the effort reciprocated, and you are giving, 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 and the other person's taking, taking, taking. When you assert and hold your boundaries, you will weed out the emotionally unavailable partners, because emotional availability requires the ability and willingness to empathize with the other person, to care about their wants and needs. And a person that is emotionally unavailable is inherently unable and unwilling to empathize. So showing up for you and meeting your boundaries is not something that they can really do or want to do. So you will weed out those emotionally unavailable people and you will free yourself up to find the emotionally available partner. But hold those boundaries. And if friendship doesn't work for you, you don't have to accept it, because you know what? You didn't treat them like an option, and you don't deserve to be treated like an option either. Don't sell yourself short.